So, what if an AI could think like Sherlock Holmes, but instead of solving crimes, it was cracking the code on diseases like cancer and Alzheimer's? Well, today we're going to dive into a groundbreaking new tool called AutoMRI that's doing pretty much exactly that. But before we get to the AI detective itself, we need to understand the crime scene. Let's ask a really fundamental question. Why is finding the true cause of a disease so difficult? The answer is probably not what you think. You see, the problem isn't a lack of evidence. The problem is we have an absolute flood of it. When a disease hits, our body becomes this chaotic biological crime scene, just littered with clues. We're not looking for one smoking gun. We're trying to make sense of thousands of them all at once. So what are these clues we're talking about exactly? Let's take a closer look at this biological data flood. Scientists have a name for this kind of all-in evidence gathering. They call it multi-omics. Honestly, it's the perfect analogy. It's like a detective at a crime scene bagging up everything. Fingerprints, fibras, DNA, you name it, to see the whole picture. And just look at all these layers of clues. It's kind of staggering, right? You've got our basic DNA blueprint, the genomics. Then you have epigenomics. Think of them like sticky notes telling our genes when to turn on or off. Then you add in all the proteins, the chemical reactions, even the trillions of microbes living in us. It's a data tsunami. And somewhere in all that chaos is the truth. But here's the twist. Having all that data isn't enough. In fact, sometimes it makes things even more confusing. And this brings us to one of the biggest traps in all of science, the classic mix-up between correlation and causation. And this is the absolute key. Just because two clues are at the scene of the crime together, it doesn't mean one is the culprit. You've heard this one before, right? Ice cream sales go up in the summer, and so do shark attacks. They are correlated, but obviously one doesn't cause the other. They are both driven by a third thing, hot weather. This slide just lays it out so clearly. Correlation is just a pattern, things happening together. Causation is the actual mechanism, one thing making another thing happen. And in medicine, figuring out that difference is, well, it's everything. If you treat a correlation, you might just be treating a symptom, not the actual cause. And as the paper this explainer is based on points out, our traditional methods are often really bad at telling the difference. This is a massive roadblock. It means we could be wasting billions of dollars and even decades of research just chasing ghosts in the data. So how do we get through all that noise to find the real culprit? Well, this is where our AI detective finally enters the scene. Meet AutoMRI. It's an AI platform that was built to solve this exact problem. Its secret weapon is this really powerful statistical technique called structural equation modeling, or SEM. You can think of SEM as like a built-in lie detector for data. It helps the AI figure out what's a real cause and effect link and what's just a coincidence. So how does it pull this off? Well, first, it just sucks in all that multi-omics data, all the clues. Then, using that SEM superpower, it starts testing thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, of different theories of cause and effect. It then draws a math showing the most likely path. And this is the cool part. It uses a large language model to explain what it found in plain English. It doesn't just give you the answer, it tells you the story. Okay, that sounds amazing in theory, but a good detective has to be able to solve a case, right? So let's see how AutoMRI actually performed when it was put to the test. So for the first test, they gave it a pretty straightforward case, a simple single pathway mystery where the researchers already knew the answer. It was basically a warm-up, designed to see if the AI could spot the obvious suspect. And it absolutely nailed it. They gave the AI data on a genetic variation, a SNP, and asked it to trace the path to a disease. And it did, perfectly. It mapped out the entire chain of events, from the gene variant to how that gene was expressed, to the protein it created, and finally to the disease itself. A perfect forensic trail. The result was, statistically, a perfect score. It got a comparative fit index, or CFI, of 1.0. In the world of statistics, that's a slam dunk. The AI didn't just find the right suspect, it presented a completely airtight case. All right, so for the next test, they really upped the ante. They threw AutoMRI a much tougher case, a really complex web of interacting data from different omics layers. This wasn't about finding one single clue, it was about untangling a whole network of them. And to crack this case, AutoMRI had to test, get this, over 3,300 different causal theories. Each one of those is like a different hypothesis for how all the clues fit together. A human researcher could spend their entire career on that. The AI did it in a tiny fraction of the time. So, how did it do? Well, this table says it all. It correctly flagged the link between DNA methylation, that gene switching process, and the disease. Yep. It also found the connection between a key metabolite and the disease. Got that one too. But what's really crucial is what it didn't find. It correctly ruled out a false lead. So it didn't just find the bad guy, it cleared the innocent suspects too. I mean, this is incredibly promising stuff. So what does having an AI detective like this really mean for the future of medicine? Well, the potential is just transformative. We're talking about speeding up drug discovery by leaps and bounds. We can finally start to get a real, deep understanding of the root causes of some of our worst diseases. Plus, by making this kind of powerful analysis accessible to way more scientists, even those who aren't coding experts, we're essentially democratizing medical research. This is paving the way for a whole new era of breakthroughs. It really gets you thinking, doesn't it? We just saw how an AI can unravel this unbelievably complex web of cause and effect that's happening inside our own bodies. So the question that leaves us with is, if an AI can solve the mystery of disease, what mystery are we going to ask it to solve next?